Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Community Corner podcast. I'm Arnav.
And I'm Nikhil, and today we're delving into a complex and often misunderstood topic, Ponzi schemes.
Yep, Ponzi schemes have been making headlines for decades. The term coined from Charles Ponzi. They're a fascinating yet alarming aspect of the financial world. And in today's episode, we're going to explore what they are, how they work, and their impact on society.
For sure. It is crucial to understand these schemes, not just for our financial literacy enthusiasts out there, but also to safeguard ourselves and our communities from potential frauds. So Arnav, do you want to start us off by explaining, what exactly even is a Ponzi scheme?
Yes, of course. So a Ponzi scheme, right? It's a fraudulent investment scam promising high returns for high rates of returns for little to risk to investors, right? And so the scheme generates returns for older investors by acquiring newer ones, rather from legitimate business activities or profit or other things that they might promise. And it was coined, it became popular through Bernie Madoff, who was a popular scammer.
Popular. I mean, that's one way to put it.
Yeah, and so he was the mastermind, the largest known Ponzi scheme in history, which was worth an estimated of about, I think, $65 billion. And so He was at one time chairman of the Nasdaq Stock Exchange.
Wow.
So it's just crazy that someone with such high power could do something like that. But yeah, so that's kind of where it came from initially. And he died recently, actually. And that's when people started to know that, the Ponzi scheme's a thing. And that's basically the largest successful Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. So, to our viewers out there, imagine essentially a scenario where an investment firm offers you an unusually high return. Let's say 10% per month.
Crazy.
Initially, it pays these returns to early investors using the capital from newer investors. Now, eventually, when it fails to attract new investors, the scheme essentially collapses, So that's kind of what it is. So 10%, right, per month, typically you're getting about 8% per year from things like Roth IRAs. So that is an extremely, large amount to think about.
Mm-hmm, but that sounds hella risky. What motivates the, orchestrators of these schemes?
So I think it's probably a mix of greed and deception, right? Mm-hmm. Ponzi scheme operators are typically charismatic individuals who exploit people's trust and desire for high returns. Because think about it, in order to gain the trust of other people, you've got to be charismatic. Now, whether it's, you're genuinely charismatic or you're just acting charismatic, that's on the table. But you're at least giving up the perception that you are charismatic, and you're just exploiting, their capital, essentially, right? All while knowing that their scheme is essentially unsustainable in the long run. I think a lot of people that do this are very fixed on the short term, thinking, okay, I can foresee in the next year that maybe this will play out just fine, but not thinking about the fact that after that year, they could be screwed if they don't attract new investors.
Okay, that's interesting, right? But what are some of the red flags or consequences that might indicate a Ponzi scheme, just for our viewers out there that, want to be aware?
Right, for sure. That's definitely very important, obviously. Yeah. So I'd say, look out for investment opportunities offering consistently high returns, regardless of market conditions, right? It's very consistent, offering 10% per month, regardless of what is happening, not just at the global economic trends, but, even locally, And so secretive or complex strategies and issues with paperwork or receiving payments can often be kind of this glare or insight into something fishy going on.
Mm-hmm. And I think we kind of already talked about this before, but one of the most notorious Ponzi schemes, one of the most infamous Ponzi schemes that we kind of have brought light to is the Bernie Madoff scheme, which defrauded investors of billions of dollars. And I guess it's just like a stark reminder of how devastating these schemes can be.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, I want to talk about kind of the impact on the victims, right? We mentioned that this is obviously not a good thing, and it obviously has a big impact, a negative one, on the people that partake in it, right? So when people get caught in these schemes, unfortunately, the consequences can be very severe. So many lose their life savings, and it's not just financial loss, it's an emotional and psychological blow as well, and a lot of them do end up in jail serving time.
Yeah, people who are caught on the loose end of the stick, people who are kind of at the end of the scheme when it's about to collapse, obviously aren't going to get the returns they promised, losing so much money, and I guess, like Nikhil said, emotional value as well. But obviously we can protect ourselves from falling into these traps, and it's all about knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know one thing is even, outside of a, personal standpoint, there are a lot of organizations and authorities that are trying to combat these Ponzi schemes as well. So, regulatory bodies like the SEC, they work tirelessly to identify and shut down these schemes. And I think they also provide the educational resources to help the public recognize and avoid such scams, kind of like we're doing right now.
Exactly. The public should be 100% aware because knowledge is power. And so I guess our advice, or just like kind of like our message out, is like always research investments thoroughly and be wary of promises of high returns with little risk. And remember the old adage, if it seems good to be true, it probably is. Nothing in America is free. Nothing in the world is free to some standpoint. So just keep that in mind. Do your own research, do your due diligence, and be careful basically before you get into anything major.
Mm-hmm. And to our viewers out there, please stay informed and stay vigilant about these processes. Protecting yourself from Ponzi schemes starts with being aware in the first place of even just the sheer existence of these things, and a healthy skepticism of too good to be true offers.
And I think on that note, kind of wrapping up this episode, thank you so much for our viewers out there. That's all for today. Stay cautious and stay informed. Peace.
Peace.